Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Valentine's Day edition of the Bucks Island Area Fishing Report. Hey, it's Saturday, February the 15th. We got three of our usuals. We've got Tom, Lee, and Gentry going to join us, and then we've got a special guest by phone. Scott Canterbury, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, is going to talk to us about Logan Martin and Lay Lake. And we will be right back with what these guys have to say about fishing in your neighborhood. Hey, we know yesterday was Valentine's, but you guys are going to be out there today with your real loves talking to the fish. We're going to talk to Tom Ott right now and find out how those real deep loves relationships on Guntersville are going. Tom, had some really warm trends, got some rain, got some cold. What's going on? Is the place bipolar?
Well, I heart the fish, Dano. So I tell you, with all we've had just a tremendous amount of rain run through this lake, and right now, some guys really like the high water, some guys don't like it, like it a little bit more stable. You get what you get, so you just got to get out there and make it. But the bite was really, really good. It started to slow down over the last week. Last weekend, it started to kind of slow down. We were able to catch a lot of fish shallow on traps, chatterbaits, things like that. The A rig was still catching groups of fish, and that was still kind of working. But it seemed like the shallower bite was kind of kind of fading out a little bit. And I don't know if that was more of a migration, a pressure, or exactly what. But there was just so much going on in the last week as far as weather goes. It's just been a little kind of here and there, and you definitely just got to go fishing. I mean, fishing is the only way you're going to find it. Good thing about the current, it kind of places those fish in some predictable areas. So I think there'll still be some nice fish caught this weekend, but it's just a little bit tougher when you get all that rain, you get some mud. It makes it definitely tough, especially when you got those cool water conditions.
Yeah, and then that mud is really going to make those fish kind of get to hard targets, maybe deeper into the drains, things like that. They're going to get a little closer to things to kind of be out of that and have a little bit more, object oriented, right?
Absolutely. A lot of times, guys talk about fish, catching fish with mud on their bellies. And this is when you're going to start seeing that kind of thing. I think they're
Yeah.
just going to hunker down, and I mean, some of these little frontal passages are always good to kind of juice the fish up a little bit. So they're still going to eat. They're just not going to be as, it's not going to be lake wide or like we've had it. We've had it great here the last 3 or 4 weeks. So it's time for a little lull. Maybe some of them are full. I don't know, but you just got to get out there and keep after it. Tournament season's right around the corner, so it's just going to get hotter as it goes on.
Yeah, and the crappie can't do anything but get better. I'm sure they're probably going to be close to things too. I'd right now stick in the causeways, some around some of the bridges and stuff, because that's the best way to target them. They're scattered, hard to find them. Brother, we
Absolutely.
appreciate everything as always, Tom. We know you're going to get out there. Folks, please be careful on the water. There's a lot of debris in the water. We've seen with West Logan what can happen when something big gets out there. But, Tom, I know you want them to be safe too.
Absolutely. Good point, Dano. Y'all be safe. There's going to be stuff floating down the river. So in those low light early in the morning, just be careful. Keep your eyes open and tight lines. Be safe.
Hey, we've got our favorite Valentine on the line with us right now, Lee Pitts. He is the man, the myth, the Valentine. We're going to talk a little bit of fishing at Neely Henry and Weiss Lake. Lee, let's talk Neely Henry because we seem to give it the short end of the stick too many times. What's going on the river?
It's about like you would think right now. We've had a lot of water issues, and Neely, everything that we've got up here and coming down is heading straight to Neely. So you're looking at some stained water, a lot of current right now. That water's moving, so
Yes.
the fish they it's still kind of cold. They want to get out of that current. So really, what you're looking for, the mouse of some of these pockets with your bass fishing, getting on back in there, maybe some secondary points, some places, bends in the rivers that can get a little bit of break from this current. Crankbait's good. Right now, that flat side crankbait, but that spinner bait, you got a little stain in the water. That spinner bait's a good muddy water bait. Something, maybe some Colorados on it right now, kind of branching off from that willow leaf, get a little more thump to it with that Colorado blade. But looking for wood cover, some kind of eddy spots that they can tuck in behind and just not have to sit out there and fight it.
Well, I will say this too. One thing you got to kind of keep your eye on. I've been on this river in February, cold water, currents running, and you get them schooling on the main river flats, and end up just, I mean, pounding them on lipless crankbaits and chatterbaits. So I did talk to Pat too. He said that they caught some really good crappie numbers this last week, Sunday when they were out. So there's crappie to be had on Neely Henry too.
Yeah, that's one of the things right now. When you find them, you're going to find them wadded up because they're all looking for that
Yep.
same kind of place where they can get out of some of the current and feed on. So that is one of the good things. Once you do find them, you're looking at finding a big wad of them.
All right, so let's turn to Weiss Lake. We got about 45 seconds left. Tell me what's going on your home lake.
Weiss right now is having some of the same issues. There's still fish to be caught. A lot of our crappie that were out in the main river system right now, there's a little too much current for them out there. You know, we're trying to get some of this stain out of here. So look at some of the major creeks, you know, around brush that we put out. Yellow Creek, Bay Springs, Little River still got a lot of current coming out of it right now. So those fish are just kind of hunkered down and just wait until some of this current slows down. But you know, it's one of those things. I've been doing this a long time. I've been guiding for 30 years. I've been tournament fishing for probably 40. And it's one of the things I've found that year after year, if you're sitting at home watching TV, you're not going to catch them.
Words of wisdom from the man. Lee, thanks, brother. We appreciate everything. We will talk to you again. Tell Laura happy Valentine's Day from all of us. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy, who's taking a break from all of his Valentine's Day festivities with his ladies there to be able to spend some time with us. Gentry, what's going on Lake Martin and Jordan Lake? Let's start at Jordan Lake today.
Well, you know, I'm repeating everything the other guy said about the Coosa River, Dano. It's, you know, this is what I look for because, you know, I can scope if I want to. I don't like to. I prefer to go the bank. So that dirty water changes the game a little bit for me. I can get up there and, you know, with a big thumping spinnerbait and a red rattle trap, you know, we talked about it. But that's what this is what I wait on. I wait for it to get blown out. You still go up the river, you know, and find those eddies because they just hold in there. And you can usually, especially with I know it sounds crazy in muddy water, but like a peanut butter colored jig, you know, with some chartreuse in it, shoot, man, on those, you know, and those eddies, when you got a tree right there, you catch a big spot out of there, you better keep fishing it because there's more than one. And that's just 101 river fishing to me.
Okay, so that's Jordan Lake. Yeah, targets, big stuff, make some noise, get some flash, dark colors, all that stuff. Lake Martin's going to be a little bit different. Those fish are clear water fish. What happens right now?
Well, I was up there this past Friday before the rain, and the water temperature on Martin is just insane. I mean, I found 64 degrees. I found cruising fish. I mean, it was insane. You know, we got the ABT coming up next weekend. I wish it was last weekend. But that's changed. I got a message today that, you know, yesterday that the OGS going out is going to take off late because it's already blown out up the river. So the driftwood's coming down, but for Martin, when you get that stained water, those fish don't get it often. Those largemouth will push up even more. Even though it's cooled off, they just don't get it much. So your red squarebill, your rattle traps, you know, because the water's still down, you got so many flats. And those spots will eat top water right now, I promise you.
If the water temperature stays warm, if it gets cooled off by this rain, it'll knock them off a little bit, right?
Maybe a little bit, but when I was like first thing in the morning last week, I found 58 degrees, and I said, well, that's perfect. I picked up a top water plug. And, you know, with it being cold, it was tough because they would slap at it a few times, but they would grab it. And when I found 64-degree water, oh, shoot, it got pretty insane there for a while. But it will cool off, but you better keep it honest.
Well, and keep looking for those crappie folks around those brush piles and stuff out deep and around some of them dock pilings starting to show up there too, right, Gentry?
Yeah, they're definitely around those deeper docks on the south end where the water don't get as muddy. Yeah, they're crappier there for sure.
Gentry, as always, brother, we appreciate it. Tell your ladies happy Valentine's Day, and we'll talk to you again soon, friend. Hey, we got a special Valentine's Day guest going to join us and do Logan and Martin and Lay Lake today. We got our own Scott Canterbury going to join us by phone today to talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake. And Scott, I guess you kind of went and played at Logan Martin a little bit, didn't you?
I have. I've been to Logan several times in the past few weeks, but I went last Thursday and it was really good. So fish are making big moves right now. I mean, I don't know what this little cold front's going to do. First of all, I appreciate y'all having me on with Bucks Island Fishing Report today.
Oh, hey, we're glad to have you as a part of our family and everything else. But so give me some details. What can they do if they want to go fishing?
This time of year, normally I try to stay on the river, and I went up there last Thursday thinking that was going to be the deal, and it really was. I couldn't get any size. Ended up moving into the major creeks, all of them. It didn't matter. I mean, I went from Chocolat, which is up the river, or mid-lake a little bit, to Crockwell's Creek, several different ones. I was in Red Barn and stuff, but the water seemed to be a little bit warmer, and it was that back ends of places really hadn't warmed up, and there was a lot of bait, and we caught them shallow, and it was a lot of fun. I only fished about 6 hours and had about 17 pounds, and I think that was a good sign for things to come. I know there's been some big fish being caught shallow for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I think they're wanting to be there. The days are getting longer. I've always said that has a big role in it, as much as water temp, because they know that's where they're supposed to be, and they're getting ready to spawn. So maybe this will slow them down a little bit and hold them on that pre-spawn pattern, but I would start looking shallow for sure, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun up there. I caught them moving baits. I caught them on crankbaits, caught a few on a rattle trap, caught a couple on a chatterbait, and I actually caught some on a swim bait. Those swim bait fish were up real high in the water column. I was able to catch them. The water was probably anywhere from 4 to 6, but I was catching the fish, and the fish were in like 2 foot of water, the ones I was catching. So they're really making a move. We've had a ton of rain, and I didn't go up there this morning. I'm going to go tomorrow, but I think with that rain, you're going to have a lot more watercolor, so the fish are going to stay shallow for sure, but you're actually going to have a lot of current. We haven't had that all winter. So that river bite could still turn on. It's just going to be shallow.
Is Lay Lake going to be pretty much the same thing for that Coosa River Team Trail this weekend?
Man, Lay Lake has been amazing this year. I fished several tournaments down there, and I've had like 18 pounds, and you just get an attaboy. So it's been crazy. I've seen 24 pounds, 22 pounds, 23 pounds of all scoping fish is what I've been seeing most of the year. But these last couple of weeks, the Silicon Marine was there this week, and I think those guys actually, I know them pretty well, caught a bunch of fish shallow, and they like to scope a little bit, but they had all largemouths, had 20, like right at 23 pounds or something, and I know that a bunch of those fish are coming out of the grass. The last time I went, I did get 2 or 3 grass bites, and I'm excited about that change to get some of those. I've fished Lay Lake my whole life, and spots win a lot, but man, catching those 22, 23 pound bags of spots out there scoping is a lot of fun, but I sure do like seeing those largemouth bags coming out of the grass.
That's true. And you're a crappie guy, so that's been going on a little bit too all over the area, right?
It has. The crappie fishing has been phenomenal on the Coosa. It doesn't matter where you're at. I hadn't fished Neely, but I fished Logan, Lay, and Mitchell. And it's crazy how many crappie that are up and biting right now, and that's a lot of fun. Fish were 2 weeks ago. Fish were really grouped up in schools, like swimming. They're just roaming around chasing bait. Last week, fish actually made us move to docks, shallow docks. Those big crappie are starting to get ready to spawn. You're starting to catch a lot of those black crappie up shallow, which are those males.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be a thing to come for the next 6 weeks. It's going to be better and better as the water warms up. Those shallow docks are going to be really good.
Scott, as always, brother, we appreciate you being a part of the family, and we will talk to you again. Good luck down there in Florida. We're rooting for you. Well, that will wrap up our Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, February the 15th. We hope you're in love with your boat, but if you're not, come on by and date one here at Bucks Island. See Katie, the boat lady, Melissa, and Patrick here in the sales department. We'll introduce you to the love of your life, at least for the next couple years. If you're looking for something to keep your old faithful running, we got the service department with Misty and everybody down there and the guys in the back. And then we got Pat and everybody in parts. And of course, if you're looking for that next piece of tackle to fall in love with, get up there and see Colin and Jamie upstairs in the loft. We look forward to seeing you. You are the best part of Bucks Island. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon.